Okay, we're here to show the proper methods of using the Cretefill Pro Series products for fixing cracks, fixing spalls, filling joints. We're in a typical small warehouse that has the types of problems that we see on every warehouse floor. If you take a look here as we're walking down this joint looks in pretty good shape until we start to get down in this section right here. And this is a typical breakout that's starting to happen around the joint. This is called a spall. And if we keep walking down here, we'll see it happens every few feet or so. We're seeing a breakout. And this is typical of what happens in a warehouse floor when forklifts drive over the joints and the joints aren't protected with the joint filler. So we're going to show you the proper method of preparing these joints to be repaired, preparing the spalls to be fixed, and also recutting the joint. And we have some areas around here we're going to show you how to use the Cretefill crack repair on fixing cracks in the concrete floor. All right, out here on this job site we have a random crack that's pretty common out on a warehouse floor. We're going to go ahead and repair this with the Cretefill crack repair. Very, very low viscosity, almost as thin as water. As you'll notice, the crack starts off a little bit large and then gets much, much smaller as it moves this way. We're going to open up the crack with a diamond blade with the vacuum attachment here. We're going to open this large area up and we're going to use dry sand. We're going to float over it and we're going to take the Cretefill crack repair and we're going to saturate the sand repair. And then in the back section here where it's much thinner, we're just going to use the crack repair neat without any sand. Then we're going to go ahead and finish it off. It'll completely repair this crack. Alright, we've gone ahead and opened up this crack. The larger part of the crack I pre-filled it with 30 grit sand, and then the narrower crack here I'm just going to fill it neat. We're using the Cretefill crack repair, very, very low viscosity. It's 25 centipoids, it's as thin as water. It's a very good product for filling cracks because it's so low in viscosity. What we do is make sure that the B side is blended. We put a ball bearing in here and we put on the instructions. It's very, very important to shake it for at least 20 seconds. And as you're shaking it, you can hear the ball bearing. Very, very important. Shake it for 20 seconds. That makes sure you blend up the B side. You can go ahead and take off the blue cap. Then I'm going to take off the D plugs at the top. See how large those openings are? That's why it's very necessary to install the flow restrictor. That's what we secured at the top of the cartridge. Put that on. Then the mixing nozzle here, we're going to go ahead and screw that on, and I'm going to use a needle tip adapter. That's very easy to install. Just shove it into the end of the nozzle. Then thread that on the top of the cartridge. I'm going to go ahead and use the 22-ounce hand tool. This is a very easy to dispense product. Very important to stick this in the hand tool facing vertical as you start to dispense it. That way there's no air that gets in the product. Go ahead and start pumping it. Then immediately pump a little bit off to the side in a cup. Then immediately go down to your crack and start filling. Okay, as you can see, the material is so thin it's able to saturate down through the sand. Once you're done with the amount of the cartridge that you needed to use, there's no reason to waste the extra that's in the cartridge. Go ahead and keep the cartridge slightly pointed down, put it over the cup, and drop out the flow restrictor, and then go ahead and recap your cartridge and save the balance for the next job. Good idea to pour a little bit of sand on top of the area that was large so that when we go and grind it down it looks nice and consistent. There's no wet spots. So just go ahead and take your sand and keep sprinkling it over until you take care of all the liquid. Okay, it's been about 20 minutes after we've first installed our Cretefill crack repair, and we've gone ahead and done this section with the sand and this section here without the sand, just neat. We're going to go ahead and grind it smooth. We're going to use a portable grinding system, the Zec blade with a vacuum attachment. We're going to grind this down smooth. Now we're going to get ready to repair the spalls that are broken out around the joint. What's always important whenever you're doing a repair is to make sure you have the proper tools. Out here we've got a diamond cutting wheel with a vacuum setup. We have a little chipping hammer. We have the mixing tool dispensers, and we also have some sand to mix with the product. What we're using when we do our spall repair is the Cretefill spall repair that got the viscosity of milk. Therefore, it's very, very easy to blend together. It's a 1-to-1 ratio product. We pigment the B side. You see that's pretty dark. The A side is not pigmented. And we're going to mix these two together in the 1-to-1 ratio with some sand and use that to repair these spalls. But these products will not work properly unless we do a proper preparation. And that means get the spall completely cleaned out, chipped out, vacuumed out, get that ready to repair. Gone ahead and prepped some of the spalls that are around the joints to be repaired. I want you to notice that we have an open joint on both sides of the repaired area, and a good method to keep the product from flowing away from the area that we're repairing is to simply take some Vac-A-Rod and dam up on both sides of the repair by shoving it into the joint. That way we keep the repair product right here in the area rather than flowing down the joint. So we've done this all along the joint, and now we're going to get ready to mix up the product. All right, we're going to use the Cretefill spall repair to go ahead and fix these spalls that we've got around the joints. I'm showing you both smaller bulk systems. One's the 2-gallon kit, the other's the 1-gallon kit. I'm going to use the 1-gallon kit because it has this self-measuring reservoir on the side. This is the B product. We're going to make sure we shake it up really good. That's where the pigment is. It's important to shake this up every time before you use it. If you grab it by the measuring vial and shake it this way, it works the best. Shake this up for about 30 seconds, and you take the top off and squeeze it. It starts to measure, and we measure ourselves out a certain amount. That's the B side. I'm going to put that to the side. Then the A side does not have to be shaken. There's no pigment in it. But I'm going to go ahead and squeeze it to make sure I measure the same amount also. Okay. Now I have equal portions of A side and B side. I'm going to pour them into a separate container. It's an easy 1-to-1 ratio, and there's plenty of working time. Now we're blending the A side and the B side together. It takes only about 15 to 20 seconds to get it blended. Then what I've decided to use out on this job is a 20 grit sand. I add that as a filler, but also as a way to control the material from moving away from the area that I'm repairing. It also makes the Cretefill spall repair stronger because it increases its compressive strength. And you can go ahead and add as much as you feel is necessary to make it flowable. There's, I'll just show you here, I've just kind of got it to good consistency. Make sure you blend that in really good. It also helps make the product slow down a little bit as far as its initial cure. And let's go ahead and go over to these areas and start to fill them. Remember, these are the spalls that I ground out with the diamond grinder. We vacuumed out, they're nice and clean. Simply feed your product in there. Scrape it off. We're going to come back a little later and grind this. This will be cured in about 20 minutes. Let's go ahead and go to another one. Just work down the line here. It bonds extremely well, but you also have to make sure that the concrete is clean and dry. Very, very important. I've also brought with me a little bit of sand, and I'll show you in a second why that is. If it starts to look wet on the top of the repair as you're filling it, I find it's a good technique to go ahead and sprinkle some sand on the top, and that helps make the repair look nice and consistent when you go to grind it. There's no shiny spots. So see how it's a little bit wet right here? Go ahead and put a little sand on the top, let it soak in. Same over here to this side. You see how it's a little bit wet on the top? You just sprinkle a little sand on the top. It'll soak in. I'll go back to these other ones. On this first one that I did, it was pretty wet. All this does is help the appearance when it cures. It cures nice and consistent if you don't have that wet looking spot. Because when you go and grind it, it actually looks slightly different than the area that had the sand in it. So it's a nice technique to make sure it looks really good and consistent. Alright, it's been about 30 minutes and our Cretefill spall repair has cured. There's many different ways to grind this down. We've chosen to use a portable grinding system with a saw attachment. We're using a ZEC wheel. It's a very efficient way to get this ground down without creating a lot of dust. Alright, we've gone ahead and repaired the spalls along this joint with the Cretefill spall repair product with sand. We're now going to take a dry diamond system with the vacuum and recut the joint. It's always necessary to make sure the joints are properly cleaned out and it's dry before we fill it with our joint filler.